Okay, guys, today we're going to be talking about, some gravels, what to do, how to, maybe how to calculate it, what's the size, what is the meanings, all that kind of fun stuff. So today we're going to start out with GAB, which is ground aggregate base, sometimes referred to as crush or run. You're going to be using this usually just as a fill material. This is anything, up to, in a parking lot, up under the paving. When you look at your details in your paving detail in the back of your plans that we were talking about, when it says, hey, 6 to 8 inches of GAB, light duty may be 6 inches of GAB, heavy duty may be 8 inches of GAB or anything like that. But if you're seeing some parking lots go down, GAB is that. So it's going to have, some little nickels and dimes stuff. It's going to have some quarter stuff. It's going to have the fines. It's just to crush it up and then send it on. It's not been filtered. It's not been, anything. If it's less than a silver dollar, it gets sent with it. So it's a little bit every time. It does pack out very well. It's a good product if you're going to cap it with anything. The second thing moving up the ladder is going to be starting out with M10s. M10 is a gravel sand, so it's no different than sand you play with, but it's a granite sand. It's a very compactable material. You can pour it in there and backfill a wall if you're not needing drainage and you just need solid compaction. It's an excellent product for that, but it's just sand. It's gravel sand. That's all it is. And you can roll it. Usually you can do 6 to 8 inch lifts per the Geotech and roll it in there and tighten it up. You may even be able to do a smooth roller on it, and you don't have to use a sheep's foot, depending on whatever the Geotech says. But M10s may be used in, when you got poor soil quality around a wall or something. That's when we've used it a bunch, and where you don't need any settlement whatsoever, you don't have any concerns. That's the product you're going to want to use. It can be expensive depending on the other products that may be out there, but that's what gravel sand is. Sometimes we've even used it for horse arenas or something like that. So think about that type of material when you're looking at M10. The next is moving up. So that's gravel sand, little bitty grains. The next thing is 89s. 8s and 9s is what that means. Number 8, number 9s. 8 and 9 is going to be like your pea gravel. So anything that's it's a quarter inch or smaller. Real fine stuff, black eyed pea size, nothing fancy, little bitty pebbles is what it's going to be. Your grandma's walking path, you'll put 89 stone down. It can be also for used around drainage or anything like that. So sometimes the Geotechs want 89 stone, so we'll put it in there. The next one is 57 stone. It's the most common stone out there that you'll use. It's number 5s and number 7s. So it's nickels, dimes, and quarters. It's about the size you're looking at. 57s is something that you can pour in place and it will automatically compact out. You do not have to run a compactor of it per the Geotechs. So you can backfill a wall and you don't have to run a trench roller. If you've got confined space areas where you don't want to get a guy down in there, get a person into an unsafe situation, pour the 57s in there, backfill on top of it, you're good to go. You may have to have a membrane separating you, but between your rock and your dirt, but 57 stones is usually do that. Under slabs of concrete, that's 57 stone. Any of the pipe that we backfill around, whether it's HDPE or any of the corrugated metal pipe or anything that we do, we're going to use 57 stone. Under base of concrete structures, it's 57 stone. 57 stone is considered a structural stone. So lots of uses for it, but mostly it's going to be, you're going to see it around our pipe structures and you're going to see it in the slabs, the concrete guy. Anytime you see 57 stone, like in a slab or somewhere, do not get your dirt in it. They will consider it to be contaminated, and do not get the dirt mixed. If you're hauling it, scoop only the gravel. Don't get the dirt in there or anything else. Just get the gravel. If you got to skim it up a little bit later and leave you 4 to 6 inches while you're scooping, do that. But don't contaminate your 57 stone. It's very critical. There's 2 types of 57s that you're going to be thinking of. One's going to be commercial, which is a little bit cheaper, and one's going to be washed. And all it is what it says, washed. They have washed all the little bitty fines off of it. So the commercial stone, we'll use it under structural stuff. It's got little bitty sand granulars around it, little bitty fines. The wash stone is for like a septic system where you need to drain and percolate water and you don't want any fines to get down in the pipes. If you got an underground drainage system, That's all got to be washed stone. A little bit more money, but if you're dealing with anything of drainage, percolation in the soil, anything like that, underground detention system there, where you're trying to disperse water through the ground, that has to be washed stone. Make sure it says it on the ticket, and you have to turn in those tickets to the geotech for them to clarify and verify that you have put the proper stone in place. So if you get a ticket from the truck, make sure that it says washed if you're doing that, or specifies for that, and hand it to the geotech. Let him write it in his documents. Yep, they put washed stone in here. The commercial stone, like I say, is just going to be, the general purpose stone. So 9 out of 10 times you're going to order or be using commercial stone. And like I say, it's just got a little bit of fines around it. So the next level up is going to be 3s and 4s. They call them 34s. So some quarries may have 3s or 4s and not 34s, but that is going to be about the size of a large egg, silver dollar size, 2 to 3 inch stuff. Maybe it's 3 inch minus really, and 2 inch. 34 stones is always in your CO pad. CO pad is a construction entrance. You have to use 34 stone. Sometimes they'll let you put a little baby surge in, but 34 stone is what you are mandated to put in. 34 stone is good for driveway stuff, not for a customer's driveway per se, but for a construction driveway, it's good. You're going to put your fabric down. You can put your 34 stone on top of it. It can be used in some, if you got soft areas in parking lots, we've, gutted out the unsuitable soil and put in fabric and 34 stones, things like that. It's good general purpose rock, I would say. But majority of the time, you get 34 stones, it's going to be used in your construction entrance there. And if the county man comes out and shuts you down for something because you got mud in the road, guess what? Make sure you always put in 34 stone back down. Don't go dressing it with 57s or anything else just because they're there. 34 stone, is what you're going to want to put down. Next size moving up the ladder is going to be baby surge. Baby surge is about the size of a big baked potato. That's about what you can always say. And I'll be honest with you, the reason we use, random things like a silver dollar, a baked potato, is because everybody in the industry, whether you get your numbers wrong, everybody knows what a silver dollar size is, or a large egg, or a baked potato. Everybody kind of gets the consistency. So when I use these little slangs, is to make it bubble proof. So if somebody's having a bad day, they get the wrong rock, you don't have it delivered out there and have to send it right back. It can save you thousands of dollars just keeping it simple. Keep it simple. So baby surge, it's used, it can be for structural stuff, like I say, if you've got soft spots in a roadway, we've used baby surge. Sometimes I've used it in drainage ditches where I've got to slow that water down, a little check dam down through there, a little run of baby surge. It depends where the engineer spec'd out for it. On the plans, the engineer is going to spec out what you need to do. The next step up is going to be surge stone. So that's going to be more of a softball size there. It's going to be more of your 5 to 6 inch size there. So about a softball or a little bigger. Within that range, that's your surge stone. So it's just a little bit bigger rock. No big deal there. Riprap. Riprap is about the most common stone that we use for outfalls of pipe or anything like that. You're about in the cantaloupe size rock. Riprap is going to be on your outfalls, drainage swales, check dams. Really, its main goal is to slow down and disperse the energy of the water. Check it, slow it down, give it a little buffer before it blows out somebody else's property, to kind of absorb some energy so it doesn't keep, carving a big ditch line or anything like that. It's speed management. It's velocity management is what it's for. I'd say we don't use it a lot for structural stuff because there's so many voids. If you tried to pack it in, there's so many voids to get other material locked in around it. So we don't really do that. You likely will not have to encounter this unless it's specified by the engineer or it's pre-planned on the plans. But they have like type 1, 2, and 3 riprap. Essentially, we call those refrigerators and washing machines. They are going to be something like these larger items here, this might be your rip wrap, but this is going to be your big stuff where honestly you're going to have to splash a few small crumbs in the bottom of the bed of this guy's truck and let the loader ease them off in there, or you may even have to get them set on a trailer. They're just so big. And those, we use those in like stream restoration, or they may be purposed for some, I call it yard art, something for, ornamental purposes or something like that. Or it just needs to be hauled off. We do purchase things like this, but like I say, it's usually landscape feature type items that want these big, huge rocks. So we call them, microwaves, refrigerators, wash machines, stuff like that, big size stuff. Talk in those terms. I want something about big as a 5-gallon bucket. Everybody's 5-gallon bucket's about the same. So, those are some easy little tips on that. So those are your ranges there. If you ever need to check back, just replay the video, go get what you need. Now, when you're ordering rock, okay, you order it through tonnage, not yardage. So how many tons do I need for this project? Well, we have a handy little app on the phone right here. It's going to be the Vulcan app right there. You'll download the Vulcan app. This is what it'll come up to be. Okay. Now, if you'll notice, they have aggregate, they have asphalt and ready mix. Regular mix is going to be your concrete. Asphalt's your base and binder and your top coat for your asphalt. You don't need to worry about, those really, unless you're ordering concrete. The other one is your aggregate. Aggregate is going to be your rock. You can mash aggregate, and this is, by the way, free. And you can put in your length, width, and height. So if I've got a road that is, and I need to get some GAB, or let's say GAB for instance, all right, and I've got a 200-foot road that is 24 feet wide, and they have foot and inches on here, that is 6 inches deep. Now, they put on here let me go back. So I've got my length, width, and height there. Now, it's got a thing on there. It says density. You're going to click density, and it's going to open up this little tab right here. Okay, what that's asking you is, what type of rock is it? Is it, like a GAB where you got fines and everything else in there? Or are you like a 57 stone that's got voids when they haul it? So we're going to go in there and say it's under the sand and gravel. Sand and gravel's under GAB. Okay, that's the only one that's going to be under sand. GAB is only going to be there, and M10. Everything else is going to be under granite. So we'll calculate sand and gravel, and we'll say calculate. So it came up that we are going to need 156 tons. Okay, just to give you an example, if we were to swap the density to granite, we're going to calculate, we're at 174 tons. So knowing that kind of matters, okay? So what kind of rock you got? Okay, so let's say, for instance, so we'll go back for our GAB. We'll put it back to sand and gravel, and we have 156 tons of rock. The average truck inside the perimeter will carry 16 ton. The average tandem truck on the outside perimeter can carry up to 18. So we average 17 ton. So if you take your calculator and you go 156 divided by 17, about 9.17 trucks. So I know it's about 9.5 loads of rock I got to bring in there to figure it. So in my mind, I'm trying to process that a little bit. So I help you kind of help sort that out. The when you're factoring in your tonnage, you're going to get tickets. Okay. When they go into the quarry, you're going to have a loader like this come over and load that dump truck. In here, there's a little scale system that measures off the pressure on the hydraulic cylinders. So when he's got it scooped, he knows about pretty darn close how heavy that much gravel is. So the truck driver will radio in to the wheel loader operator and say, hey, I'm looking for about 16, 17 ton. He'll reach over and start splashing him. One full bucket, come back, get him a little more, start splashing him. and he'll get it pretty close to about 17 ton. But he may be 17.5, 17, 16.6. He may be all around a little bit, but he's going to be within a ton. Okay, so hauling gravel is not an exact science, so we get close, and you guys in the field understand that you're going to lose a little gravel. So even though it says 9.17 loads, we may have a half a load of fluff that gets lost when you're scooping and shoveling and moving and everything else. So when he checks out, goes across the scales, they're going to print him out a ticket. Okay, when he goes out there and drops that load, okay, you as either you, the operator, or the foreman should be signing that ticket each time, signing it and looking at it and going, okay, this load is 18 ton or 18.2, and this driver has gotten a total of 66 tons today. It'll have a total, whatever he's hauled out that day, have a total out. So if we've placed an order for 156 tons, each ticket, you'll know how close you're getting on that order to fulfilling that order, how much tonnage. So if you need a little bit more and you're seeing, ooh, I might be a little short or I might be a little heavy, you can start waning off your gravel and say, you know what, this last load is going to be enough. Let's cut it short, or this is not going to be enough. We need an extra load. And you call, your foreman or your field manager and say, hey, we're actually going to need another load and we need to account for this in the budget because it can be an extra $1,000 with a rock. So, just a brief little knowledge. A dump truck does hold approximately 10 to 12 yards, but just remember, yardage is for dirt, tonnage is for rock. Okay, when you're communicating. A little bit when the truck arrives. These trucks are heavy. Okay, watch how your trucks are coming in there. Try not to let them get stuck. If that thing's pumping pretty good, don't let those front axles. If he's coming in there with some real skinny tires, he's going to sink. If they got the nice big floater axles or floater tires, big wide ones, he might be able to set up in there. Put him in low gear. Say, I need you in low. Low will prevent him from breaking an axle or breaking a drive shaft or something. It's a little bit less strain on the drivetrain putting in low. If you're backing up in some soft stuff, put him in low, or just say, hey, if you don't mind, driver, can you put it in low for me? And let's just ease on back. When you're backing that driver in, you're going to just stay 10 or 15 feet away from that truck. Don't get right up on it. If you can't see his face in that mirror, he cannot see you. Make sure all parties are away from that truck. If you're backing them up or anything like that, make sure you got all your PPE on and you got clear hand signals, which we'll do in another video. But you're going to back that driver up. Now, if he's got wet gravel, it's not a big deal. But if he's got dry gravel in your middle of July and he starts dumping, stay away from it. That dust to get in your lungs, you don't want that. Okay, stay away from the gravel dust. It's not good for you. Stay away from it. Okay, let him dump. Get out of the way. If you back him in up to a spot and you say, hey, stop right there, spin it up. You're going to be also looking around, and as well as the drivers, make sure no overhead power lines, tree limbs, beams, anything that's overhead that when he raises his bed all the way up, he's not going to. And not only where he raises, but he's got to pull up again too. Okay? So making sure that he's got enough room to pull up, slap his gate a couple times, and then lay back down before he's going to engage in any wires. Okay? So be very cautious of that. Couple of little things. Some of these drivers, you're going to hear them like, oh, I can set my chains and I can pour this out for your roadway. I've only seen a few guys that can do it. I've been in this for a while. And they're really good and they can handle it. But setting the chains is dangerous. Now, what that means on the tailgate, there they got 2 chains on either side there. And it limits how much you can open up. So the good drivers, they can set their chains and they can put 4 or 5 links on it, measure it out, do a little tug. And, buddy, they can just sit there and lift their bed and pour it just out just clean as can be. Very nice. But if they're new drivers and stuff, we recommend that you don't do it. We'll take care of that because it's not worth the risk to me to have a dump truck. If it goes up and that load doesn't want to slide down, and I've seen it before, and you hit a bump and that thing breaks one of the pins down here and it dumps over, could kill somebody. So it's very dangerous, a dangerous practice. So please do not set your chains. Don't allow them to set the chains. Just say, sir, it's okay. We'll if you'll just dump it here, we'll take care of it. It's our job as the people to place it and move it. So let us do our job. So when you're coming through there, again, go back to the load tickets. Make sure the truck number matches it. I have had that happen. I had a year ago over $12,000 worth of rock was applied to my account. The guy in front of us had the same truck number as us, but it was under a different account, and we had to spend hours and hours trying to chase it around to figure out. And I couldn't get a release for my payment because they said we owed money from the GC. So make sure that the truck number is matching up with the ticket. Just verify that. The truck tickets, make sure at the end of the day you're turning them in, and make sure they get to the office by the end of the week. If you're ever, if you're a driver potentially, or you're around the quarry, you can go in the sales office, you can go in the guard shack, but outside of that, you have to stay in your truck or the truck or one of the professionals' truck, or if they give you permission, possibly. But once you go into a mine, you can only go into it unless you are MSHA certified. It's an ocean organization. It's similar to OSHA, but it's separate. MSHA has its own ball game for rules and regs, anything else. If you have not been certified by MSHA, you cannot participate in a working environment in a mine. So mine, quarry, whatever it is, bar pit, anything like that. So if you do participate, don't get out of your truck. You got CBs, you got radios. Let the manager that you're with or the quarry representative handle this. You just communicate with them. If you got to go up to the scale house, you can hop out there, go to the scale house, and you can talk to them. But that is a real critical point. I think that's all we have for the, I would say, for rock. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be glad to answer any more. Thank you.